start with my first question.
Sure.
Before bringing in VAs, what were the biggest challenges you faced in your business, and how have things improved since they joined your team?
Yeah, so I think before we brought in the VAs through Ascension, we had utilized another company and just had a lot of problems. We really struggled to make sure that we knew who was on, where the support was, and felt like we really still had to be heavily involved in managing the process. And so I think the biggest change for us is feeling like we have the support and that we know the VAs there, they're doing their job and we're not glued to the computer or glued to the phone in our off hours or our on-call hours, checking in every second to make sure that things are being done or that someone's there. We know it's getting handled. So it's been a big relief for us and a huge support.
All right, that is so great to hear, Jen. Thank you so much for that. Now, when you first thought about hiring them from overseas, especially from the Philippines, were there any concerns or doubts you had? How did we help you feel more confident about moving forward?
Yeah, I don't think that we had too many concerns. I think the only concern that maybe came up was just making sure that we felt like there wasn't going to be any sort of language barrier or accent barrier. And we didn't find that at all. I think everybody that we've worked with has been fantastic and we've had no issues, no concerns, no complaints. So we've just been really thrilled with everyone that's been brought to us through Ascension.
Thank you. And now regarding the onboarding experience, how did you feel about the onboarding process? Was there anything about it that stood out to you or made things easier?
So I think for us, the onboarding process was very smooth. And so we were very lucky. So we had a really smooth process. We had a wonderful VA who was just fantastic, was a quick learner, and really wanted to make sure that he was getting everything right and was very helpful and asked really good questions. So I think for us, we had a very high level of confidence very quickly in seeing that he was very engaged and was going to be a big support and asked all the right questions and he picked it up very quickly. And then when we moved to increase our hours and increase the coverage and support through Ascension, we were thrilled because he was actually able to train the other VAs that came on. And again, we knew his performance was fantastic and we've really loved working with him. So we had no concerns that he would be able to train the other VAs and really take the ball and run with it. So it's been a very smooth process for us.
Right, that is so great to hear. How about the reports we provide, the end of day, end of week reports, and especially the SOPs or the SBS processes we made? How have they made a difference for you? Have they helped with keeping things organized or have they improved workflows at all?
So I think this is another area that we saw a big divergence from our previous company. So again, we felt like we weren't really sure what was going on. We didn't have great communication. And so when we made the switch to Ascension, we were very pleasantly surprised on the level of communication that we got. And we feel like we get a lot of really good information. We have end of shift notes that comes through our system. We also get emails at the end of every shift. And we feel like we know what's going on throughout all of the shifts that we have on call support services. So we've been really happy with that. And I think for us, something that really even takes that to the next level is having the SOPs that were created and having a whole workflow so that when we did increase our coverage, we were able to direct everybody to look at those SOPs that we didn't even have to create, that were created by Ascension. So it wasn't just helpful that we were getting more support and helpful that we were having our VA on board. We actually had him create an entire process and a workflow to make sure that anyone else that came on had answers. And I joked around with our scheduler that I even use some of those videos because scheduling is not something I do that often. And I said, oh, I've actually looked at those videos, looked at the process because they answer my questions too, and they were really well done. So it just made it very smooth all around. And again, another great resource for us and another way that we really felt like the communication was fantastic.
All right, that is so great to hear. Actually, that was my next question regarding the communication. But
Yeah.
if there's one thing I would always remember from Miss Regina, it's what she always say. Over communication is so much better than under. make sure to always
Right.
provide updates to your clients or your POC. So I'm glad that our VAs are applying that.
Absolutely. And I will say it's great. It's not even just communicating, hey, I'm going to be taking a few days off on this date next month. It's, hey, I'm going to be taking a few days off. I've already arranged coverage. Here's an updated schedule. Call me if you have any questions. And I'm like, oh, wow, this is great. It's all done. It's communicated. There's a plan that's been put in place. So there's never any concern about gaps in coverage. And I think that's very reassuring to us. It's again one more thing that we don't have to worry about, and we feel like is such a good support.
Alright, that is great. I'm so pleased with what I'm hearing right now. I'm really looking forward to make a shout out to the VAs that you have. Now,
Yeah.
have our VAs made any
Yes.
changes in how you balance work and personal life? Could you share an example where you felt their support really made an impact?
Yeah, so that's a huge one, I think, for us. I feel like when we were on call, when we had weekends on call in the past, those were very stressful days. And often we'd come to work on Monday and felt like we worked all weekend because we were on call and we were trying to check in, figure out what was going on, troubleshoot issues, communicate with caregivers and families. And so it's been a huge shift for us to be able to let go and say, oh, this is great. We have really diligent on-call VAs who are managing everything and just filling us in. So some of us still have a panic response of, oh my gosh, there was a call out or a no call, no show or a situation. And we don't have to worry about that anymore because we know it's getting handled and we'll get communication of what's been done, what's already resolved. And I always joke around with our scheduler that our VAs are better at finding coverage than I am. They reach out and they can fill shifts super fast. And it's something that, again, has made everything very smooth on our end. So we really appreciate the VAs, and they've done just a fantastic job on that.
Yeah, that is so great to hear again.
Yeah.
Jen, you know what? I just want to share this with you.
Yeah.
I've worked with Ascension. I started as a recruiter and then as a scheduler, and then I became one of the team leaders. So seeing and training those VAs, actually, I've had the pleasure to train one of your VAs. I think one or two of your VAs.
Yeah.
So it's amazing how they are applying those everything that we shared with them, because weekly we have check-in calls with them and with how things are doing, how's your processes, is there any concerns you would like to share, or how's your
Yeah.
communication with your POC or your client. So
Yeah.
that's really great to hear, and I'm really glad that ABS we're starting to ask or request for more than just the feedback. We're asking for testimonial videos. It's a great way to show the others what we offer. So I just want to thank you again for attending this meeting.
No, I'm thrilled to attend, and we've all been so happy with the team that's been assembled, and we feel really well supported, but also just enjoy working with the team. You guys have provided us just wonderfully kind, nice, diligent VAs, and so it's a pleasure to work with them, and it feels like they're an extension of our team. So I'm just really happy that we have this partnership.
That is so great. All right, Jen, for my last question, the million
Yes.
dollar question.
Okay.
Right. Would you recommend our services to other home care business owners? What would you tell them about how we've helped you and your team? If another home care business was on the fence about hiring VAs, what would you say to them?
Yeah, this is a very easy question for me. So, yes, I would definitely recommend them. I think if somebody would be on the fence about using VAs and making that move, I would say that it really has been a tremendous support. And it takes just a huge weight off knowing that you have a skilled team of diligent professionals that are managing things when you can't be awake 24/7 and managing things 24/7. So to be able to take a step back and to be able to that you have coverage and know that you have that support is huge. And so I feel like being on this side of that transition, I'm like, I can't imagine ever going back to that. So I think I would just share with folks what a tremendous difference it's made in our business to feel like we have such good support and don't have to worry about things in the hours that we're off and trying to not manage things and be able to say, hey, we have a great team in place so that we know they've got it And again, it's an extension of our team, and we feel like we've got great support. So I would think it would be a nice shift for anyone to be able to enjoy that same level of support.